Hello class. This will be a video on our week 2 sketches. I'm going to be going through just the first 3 sketches to show off some new techniques. In this first one, I'll be showing off how to mirror. On the second one, I'll be showing off how to use the offset tool. And on this third one, I will be showing off how to use a circular pattern as well as how to make slots. And so let's begin. So this one's a fairly simple part with just lines. It's fairly similar to your week 1 sketches. But the new thing that we're going to learn is similar to the symmetry relation, where we use the center line and 2 lines that are on either side of the center line, and we use symmetry to essentially mirror the distance that line is from the center. We can also use something called the mirror tool to take half of a drawing and mirror that over a center line to copy and paste it flipped on the other side of the center line. And so that's what I'll be showing off here. So we'll be making a new part. Like always, we look down at our sheet. We find that our units are in millimeters. And so going to SolidWorks, we have to make sure that our units down here are in millimeters as well. And we will make a sketch on the front plane. So I'm clicking on front plane, I'm clicking on sketch, I click sketch, and we'll zoom into our part. Oops. All right. So starting with the center line, I'm just going to put this dashed line right through the origin of my part to anchor it. And so you can see the yellow boxes that pop up next to my cursor are the coincident icon and the horizontal relation icon to show that the line is horizontal and it includes the origin within it. So we'll start with that, and then I will draw just the top half of this eye. So from the left of the origin, I go up, over, up again, and actually I'll show mirroring in both horizontally and vertically using the center line. So I'll go up, over, up, and to the right, up to this middle point, and then we'll flip that over, and then we'll flip that over again. So I'll take my line tool up here, or I do hold down right click and I move to the left. And so I start and I go up and to the left, up and to the right, and line it up with my center point. Let's draw that center line that goes vertically through the origin. We'll just draw it from the line that I just created down to the origin. Now let's add some dimensions. We'll start with this 160. So when you have a center line and a solid line, if you click on the solid line and the center line, you can either define a dimension from left to right, or if you expand it and go over to the right a bit, you can see that it defines the dimension as if the center line were in the middle. And so that's closer to what I want given the drawing. So I'm gonna plop this down, type in 160 millimeters, drag it back to a good place. And so from here, flipped over to the right side is 160, just like it has in the drawing. We'll do the same for the 20 millimeters, like so. And all I'm doing is clicking on my Smart Dimension tool, clicking on my starting line, clicking on the center line, and then I plop the dimension on the right side of the center line in the empty space. And then we can double click on the dimension I just plopped to set it to 20 millimeters. it looks like the distance from top to the middle of this beam, or top to bottom of this top beam, is 20 as well. So we'll do that from there to there, over to the right. And then the distance from the bottom of the beam down to the center line is 70. So Smart Dimension tool, bop bop, 70. Now these 4 lines are fully defined, which puts me in a good spot to start reflecting them. And so our mirror tool is this mirror entities tool in the sketch tab. So in the sketch tab, which again, you can always enable tabs if you don't have it by right clicking on this middle region, going to tabs and clicking on sketch. You can hit mirror entities and it pops up this window on the left with 2 boxes. The first one says, what am I copying? So for me, I want to copy and paste the 4 lines that I've drawn, the 4 solid lines. So I click on all of those, copy is checked. The second one is asking, where do I want to copy it, reflect it over? So like, where is the location of my mirror, quote unquote? So I can either select the horizontal line, and you can see with the preview, mirrors from left to right using these yellow lines. Or instead, I can mirror it top to bottom, making these yellow lines from left to right, or these yellow lines on top get reflected over down to the bottom. Either is fine because we have to do both. So for now, I'm going to go left to right. I hit the check mark either here on the left or here on the right, or press the enter button. And that's copy pasted, reflecting these 4 lines over the center line as if the center line was a mirror. All right, so let's do the same from top to bottom. So I want to reflect all of these lines, mirroring it about the horizontal line. You can see it completes the eye shape. I hit OK. And that's our drawing. We have 160, 20 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 70 millimeters. Okay, so that's that part. Next, we'll be showing off the offset tool. And so we'll new part, new sketch, or new sketch, new part. So I'm gonna close out of this, open up a new part, hit OK. So what this offset tool does is it takes an existing sketch and it creates a copy of it that is similar in size, so it's a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, or both. So for this one, I'm going to put the origin in the center of these circles. And so I'm going to start by making 2 center lines that go through the origin. So I click on my centerline tool, I click, hold, and drag through the origin one way, and then I click, hold, and drag through the origin the other way, since they're 2 separate lines. Now, if you're asking, do I draw the inside or the outside for this? For me, I would draw the outside because that's where the dimensions are. You can see that the 60 is from this outside line to the origin, and then the distance from here to there is all from between 2 outside lines, as well as the diameter of the circle is also based on the outside circle. So we have the same shape in this ring, once on the outside and once on the inside, and hope that'll look a little bit clearer in a second. So I'm going to start with my circle, starting from the origin, going outwards, and then I have 2 lines, one on top, one on bottom, that go from the center of the circle, or from the circle out straight to the left. So I click on my line tool, I plop one of these lines down. It looks like it snapped for some reason. I don't want that. So I'm going to just try again. I'll start from empty space, go horizontally to the left. I might see the coincident icon. I see the horizontal icon in yellow next to my pencil cursor, which lets me know I'm snapping to the right objects. I hit escape. I open up my line tool again. I draw the bottom line. And then I will use the Trim Entities tool to open up the circle. So I click on it. Power Trim is automatically highlighted. Power Trim, I just click in the space and I swipe through whatever I want to cut. You can see with the gray line, whatever that gray line hits gets deleted. And so this is the shape that's going to be copy and pasted with a slight difference in size. So let's finish defining this. This circle has to be 100 diameter, which if you saw has the R symbol to show that it's a radius. And so we will take our diameter divided by 2, since diameter over 2 is radius. Hit OK. And we can always change it back to diameter by right-clicking on it and doing display as diameter, which is the second symbol here. The next thing we have to define is the distance from there to there, which will be 20. They're still blue, so the question is, how do they move? I click on one and I drag it. It looks like they either both move upwards or they both move downwards when I need them to be equally spaced from the center line. And so for me, that tells me I need a symmetry relation. So I'm going to click on the things I need to be related, which are the two solid lines and the dashed line. Hit symmetric, and that's locked in. These blue points on the end of the line are still movable if I click and drag, so those also need to be locked down. For one of them, they should be the same length, so I can either make these 2 points vertical, or I can make these 2 lines equal in size. Both will do the same function. So now if I move one with the equal relation, they both move together, but they all still move, and that needs to be locked down. And so what I'm missing is the 60 millimeter dimension from the endpoint to the center of the circle, center line, the vertical center line. So I click on that, type in 60, and now this is the outside of ring of my circle. And now I'm ready to show the offset tool. So the offset tool is this offset entities button. So I'm going to click it. This parameter here is the distance it'll grow or shrink in a single direction. So if I click on my sketch to preview it, you can see it's growing and shrinking by 10 millimeters, which is exactly from here halfway down. And so it's making this maybe like fan shape. We need it to be a 4 millimeter distance. So I'm going to type that in, click anywhere to see the preview change. Oops. Let's undo that. I hit Control Z to undo. I hit offset entities. I should have clicked here, this region, not in the open space. So at 4 millimeters, you can see it's going inwards, making this yellow lines. So 4 millimeter distance from the horizontal line to its nearest yellow line, and 4 millimeters in from the outside circle to the inside circle. I can change the direction using this reverse checkbox to go inwards or outwards. If I need to go in both directions at once, I can hit bidirectional. But for us, we just need to go 4 millimeters inwards all the way around. And so this looks pretty good. And so I hit the check. And then to finish this off, I just need to close the shape with these 2 lines. And so I'm just going to connect the dots. Oops. I hit escape. I hit Control Z to undo what I just did. Connect. Connect. It shades in because it's a closed region, and that's our shape. All right. Our third shape will be this guy. So let's get out of here, open up a new part for a new sketch. So far these tools have just been, the main goal is to save time if you see something that fits the niche. So here it's the same on top and bottom, so maybe I save some time drawing some lines by using the mirror tool to copy it left, right, top, down. Here I saw the same shape but slightly different size, so I decided to save time by only dimensioning part of it and then using the offset to take care of the rest. On this one, the pattern that I see is that these holes and these little bump outs are copied 6 times around the circle, and so we will be using the the circular sketch pattern in order to copy and paste these nubbins. So I'll be placing the origin just at the center to lock that down and start getting things to define as I add dimensions. So I hit sketch, I hit front plane, and let's draw everything but these slots in the middle. So I see an outside circle, so I'll add that. Oops, I missed, but we can just add that later. So, and then I'm going to draw the circle that has the most dimensions on it, because hopefully my the person who made my drawing out in the field has an idea of how I should make it. And so here, this right circle has both diameters dimensioned as well as the angle dimension, but this is more for the slot. So I'm going to be drawing the bump out on the right side. And so clicking on the circle again and going to the rightmost point on the circle, I'm going to draw the inner circle, then I'm going to draw the outer circle. Okay. I'm going to then add some dimensions. So this outer circle is 100 millimeters. Millimeters again is on the bottom of the drawing down here. The outside diameter is 20 of this bump out, and then the inner circle is 10. Now you can see that none of these are defined even though they all move together, and that's because I didn't lock the sketch down to the origin because I missed on the beginning, and so I'm going to lock any point. It could be this point, it could be the bottom of the circle, but for me I'm going to pick the center point of the circle, control click that and the origin, and make them coincident to lock it in, and now the sketch is fully defined. And then I'm going to use trim entities to cut out these 2 parts of the circle. So any of the inner lines, anything I don't see in my drawing. So this circle and this arc are what we want to copy a couple times around the circle. And so I'm going to go to linear sketch pattern, hit the drop down, hit circular sketch pattern instead. And so that brings up this window where the first box is asking for essentially the center point of the circle that we're going to be copy and pasting our lines around. And so for me, that would be we're copying and pasting around the origin. Then I'm going to skip down to entities to pattern and click on it so I can get a preview. So this is saying what lines are we trying to copy, and so for us we're trying to copy this circle and we're trying to copy this outer bump out. And you can see the bump outs up here on as yellow lines. And so if we look at our drawing, we need 6 of them. And so here in this box with the pound signs surrounded by the circles is the amount of instances to that the pattern will create. And so let's up that to 6, like so, by clicking just on the up arrow or replacing the number 4 with the number 6. And so that looks pretty close. The last thing I'll show for novelty is that there's this instances to skip box. If I click on it, the pink dots in the center of each copied pattern appear. So you can kind of see it if I click off and back on, the pink dots off, pink dots on. If I click on any of these pink dots, it turns off that pattern. So if I hit the checkbox right now, that pattern won't be applied. I can just click on it again to re-enable it. So this looks pretty good, pretty close to what I want. So I hit OK. Cool. So now we just need to add some dimensions to these. It looks like they can zoom out and zoom in, essentially, like expand and contract. The one thing that's expanding and contracting as well is this center point. And if I click and I drag it, I can see that it's moving all of the patterns. I need to lock that down. And so this center point of the circle of copy patterns should be locked down to the origin. So I'm going to click on that, click on the origin, or the center point of this big circle if you didn't lock the origin to the center point. But then I'm going to hit coincident to lock it in, and now they go black. I'm just going to use the trim entities tool to trim out parts of the circle that I don't want. And that's the circular pattern tool. We'll do it one more time with the slots. So these arc slots, 3 of them, this one up here is well defined as starting from 30 degrees for the bottom arc. The center point of the bottom arc is 30 degrees above the origin, and then the top center point is 45 degrees from the bottom center point. And then the radius of the arc itself, the slot itself, is 70 millimeters in diameter, so 35 millimeters in radius for the radius of the overall slot. To make a slot, I'm in my sketch tool. I can do center point arc slot or 3-point arc slot. Let me do, first plop down this construction circle. So to do that, I plop down a solid circle, and then I just hit the for construction box that it pops up. And it goes from a solid line to dashed line to show it's not a part of my drawing anymore. I dimension that to 70 millimeters. And then I draw my center point arc, the 4th option in the dropdown. And the center point arc, as it shows in this drawing, the first click is on the center of the whole slot. Why did it do that? Try it again. Center point of the whole slot. Starting point of my slot is the 2nd click, ending point of my slot is the 3rd click, and then the thickness of the slot is the 4th click. Let's make some angle dimensions. So I can do that by clicking on 3 separate points. So 1, 2, 3. Should do it there. That's not right. Let's make a center line since that's not working. So we'll make a center line that goes through the middle. And then the center line that goes from the origin to the first center point. And then a center line that goes from the origin to the 2nd center point. This distance here should be 30, or this angle here should be 30 degrees. And this angle here should be 45 to match my drawing. The diameter of this outer arc should be 10, and so 10 divided by 2, because it's asking me for a radius with the R symbol, is 10 divided by 2. I type in, hit enter, and now my slot is fully defined. And so let's copy paste that, again with a circular sketch pattern. First box is the center. It's already selected the slot automatically, and I want 3 of them. Hit OK. And my part's done. All right, so these are your drawings that you will need for week 2. The only other thing that you'll need for week 2 is that this polygon tool exists. And so if I click it, it's going to make an even side or a polygon with equally sized sides. So right now, this is saying it's a 6-sided polygon. So if I click and I drag, it makes a hexagon with all equal sides that I can plop down. If I hit the up arrow, it goes up in the amount of sides. And if I hit the down arrow, it goes down. So from a hexagon to a pentagon to a square to a triangle. I don't think it goes below a triangle because that would be not a polygon. All right. So that's it for week 2. I will catch you in the next video. Thank you.